defense, end birthright citizenship, 350,000 babies a year born in the United States that get automatic citizenship that begin the family reunification plan. And it is not a constitutional guarantee, it's a practice that has gotten started that we haven't been able to say no to. And then employer sanctions. And we have to shut off the magnet in the workplace. And those three things, if we stop the bleeding at the border, and I think we can do so effectively, if we can end birthright citizenship, and I believe we can do that statutorily, although politically we're not ready to get that done yet, and if we can turn up the employer sanctions, pass the new IDEA Act, which ends the federal deductibility for wages and benefits that are paid to illegals, and let's say IRS get into this mix, and then requires them to share information with the Department of Homeland Security and the Social Security Administration, we can have actually a federal government that's cooperating with itself instead of working at cross purposes with itself. If we can do those things, then we can get to this point where we can start to accelerate the assimilation of people here in the United States. And to give you an example, we had testimony from the Department of Labor before the Small Business Committee, and they testified that they didn't have enough available workers to train them to work within light industry in some of our cities. And so, for example, they didn't know enough language to train them to run a punch press or a lathe. And I asked the question, I can understand why a newly arriving immigrant wouldn't know the language and you'd have some trouble there, but do you have second generation people here that don't have enough language skills that can be trained in this level? And the answer that came back, and it's in the congressional record, is yes, we have many second generation that don't learn English, and we have third generation that don't learn English, and that's part of the problem. Now, what a chilling concept to think that by the third generation, they don't know enough English to be able to teach them to work in light industry. I want to also mention a couple of other things. One is the Voting Rights Act. That came up a little over a year ago for reauthorization. It's reauthorized for another 25 years. We had a fight on the floor and a fight all the way through the process to get an amendment to the floor to end the requirement for multilingual ballots. And we lost. We got 187 votes on the floor of the House of Representatives, or we would have killed multilingual ballots. There is no excuse, as John said. I don't think he said excuse. There is no reason. There is no excuse either if you're born in America or if you're naturalized in America not be able to understand enough to fill out a simple ballot. That needed to happen. It didn't. 25 years now we're stuck with this unless something phenomenal happens legislatively. I also wanted to point out that candidates in this presidential arena have constantly said, Republicans at least, I'm opposed to amnesty. They all took the anti-amnesty pledge, every one of them. But I was listening carefully for someone to define amnesty. And what I heard them do was define what amnesty was not what amnesty is. But I've defined it a year and a half or so ago. To grant amnesty is to pardon immigration lawbreakers and reward them with the objective of their crime. Pardon and reward. And if you sell it for a fine, if you discount American citizenship, if you don't apply the punishment for the crime that was the law at the time they committed it, it's amnesty. And so that's a standard I hope that we can hold with whomever is our next president. And I wanted to just close this with a comment that I made in a political arena here a while back, quite a while back actually, when they asked me if I was for open borders, and I said, yes, I am. I'm going to make this confession. I'm for open borders. I'm for unlimited immigration. I'm all for that under this condition, that every time we let in an immigrant, we export a liberal. We can build a greater country. Thank you.